The would-be Trump shooter had a manifesto, and in the manifesto, he put a bounty on Trump's head. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the would-be Trump shooter having a manifesto, and inside the manifesto, there was a bounty of $150,000 placed on Trump's head. Now, there's a lot here. Before we get into the video and the letter, which we're going to read, let's go back. We all know what happened at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida. This guy, Ryan Routh, 58 years old, from North Carolina, but living in Hawaii. He had an AK-47, ceramic armor, book bags, GoPro. Now we know he had a manifesto and a bounty. He had all that stuff on him, and he was trying to shoot Trump through the chain link fence in West Palm Beach, Florida at the golf course. Now, luckily for us, luckily for Trump, and luckily for him, really, the Secret Service agents who were holders who were ahead of Trump on the course spotted him, opened fire. He tries to flee. He gets about 50 miles away, 50 miles north, where he's captured, and he's brought into federal custody. Now, for some reason, he's going to court, and the judge is going to determine whether he gets bail or not. Now, maybe it's a formality. They have to do it. You can't just deny it without having a hearing. But obviously, this guy is a flight risk because he tried to shoot the president, and then when they caught him, he ran. So a clear flight risk. Obviously, this guy should never see the light of day again. Put this guy under the penitentiary and make him make big rocks to little. Now, before I go any further, let's get to an actual clip here. This is ABC News, and of course, I will link to this news clip, the manifesto, and everything in the description box. If you're on IG, visit that link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Details about the man suspected of trying to assassinate former President Trump as a judge is set to consider whether to grant bail. The 58-year-old suspect is charged with possession of a firearm as a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Trump was playing golf last week when investigators say the suspect pointed a rifle through a fence bordering the West Palm Beach Golf Club. Now prosecutors say the suspect had a list of places Trump could be and visited that golf club several times in the month before his arrest.
So he was scouting the places, like, okay, he knows Trump goes golfing. He knows Trump does this, Trump does that. So he's scouting the places, trying to find his opportunity to take the shot. Okay, that was his whole thing. And, you know, to go back to the charges, they're talking about having the weapon as a convicted felon and the scratched off serial numbers. They can get him on that, and that's going to be a rock solid thing. Now, as far as the assassination attempt, I don't think he fired the shot, so they might not be able to get that as a rock solid situation. But they can throw the book at him for what they got him on, and he won't come home again. 58 years old, just for the weapon with the serial number scratched off, you can get 20 years in the federal penitentiary for that, potentially. So I think they're going to smoke his boots based on what they have against him. But let's keep on going.
Arrest. Senior reporter Catherine Falders joins me now from West Palm Beach, Florida for more. Catherine, this detention memo reveals that this suspect allegedly sent a letter to a witness saying this was an assassination attempt on former President Trump. How significant is that, and what more are you learning about him?
Yeah, and the timing of that letter in particular is a bit unclear because it says that this letter was sent several months leading up to his arrest. But prosecutors do reveal new details in this filing. They say that that letter that they put in the filing that he wrote, Ryan Routh, the suspect here wrote, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. He then says that he's offering $150,000 to anybody who can finish the job that he.
Now, they did not read the entire letter, and I don't like when news come on, it wasn't even that much. Just read the whole thing because let's get a little bit of transparency. Now, what I'm going to do is read that full letter and let the rest of this news clip play to get more context. But first, a word from our sponsor. Online data brokers sell your information to scammers, hackers, and anyone who wants to use that information against you. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, even your family's information is all out there for sale. I mean, look at what they found about me. That's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers sell my information, and they automatically submit opt-out requests on my behalf. Now, To clean that info up not only helps me reduce spam, but it protects me from hackers who want to access my bank accounts, social media accounts, or maybe even the inside of my home. I learned that the hard way back when I got swatted. It's 2019. I'm streaming as normal, and before I know it, I have not one, not two, but 6 cops at my back door, guns drawn. They tell us, come outside, get on the ground. They go through their house looking for the bad guy, and they come back very apologetic. I'm sorry, Mr. Logan. We got an anonymous tip that somebody was in your house tied up and bleeding, and we had to come check it out. Now, I'm willing to bet all the tea in China that someone purchased my home address from an online data broker. You may think, why would I need Aura ABL? I'm not a streamer. I'm not a YouTuber like you. How could this service protect me? Well, AT&T just revealed that over 73 million customer records, both existing and former, were released to the dark web. Now, AT&T says, hey, use a stronger password, monitor your account activity, maybe even invest into credit freezes or fraud alerts from a credit bureau. Well, Aura does all the above for me. And you know the best part? I don't need a bunch of different apps, all because one company could not keep my data secure. If your data was in an AT&T breach, simply activate Aura and eliminate your worry, because Aura is always on in the background, keeping you safe. I value my privacy and I value yours. Visit aura.com/Anthony Logan through the link in the description to start your free 2-week trial today. And we're back. Now, here's a letter right next to me. I'm going to read this, and if you guys want to see it, again, I will link to that in the box. Just a straight image so you can have it. Send it to your friends, family, whatever you want to do. Now, let's start from the top. Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you to finish the job, and I will offer you $150,000. You see that right there? That is the bounty that he's offering, $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, know that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less a U.S. president. U.S. presidents must, at bare minimum, embody the moral ethic, the moral fabric that is America, and be kind, caring, and selfless, and always stand up for humanity. Trump fails to understand any of, and then that's where it stops. So yeah, it's a manifesto because you got your personal opinion about Trump, talking about he's unfit, all this, that, and the third, and it's a bounty. So now you're encouraging others to try and do something. I think this letter right here could be additional charges. Like I said, just for the gun and the scratched off serial numbers, plus being a convicted felon with a lengthy rap sheet, he would never come home again. Now, I hope and pray they don't do anything crazy like give this guy bail, because that'd just be ridiculous. Now, let's go back to the clip here so we can continue to hear what they got to say about the situation. Do we have any new information, any other context? Let's let them finish.
He failed. That's just one of the new details revealed in this filing. It's a bit unclear as to when exactly he wrote that letter, but of course prosecutors and investigators discovered it in the course of their investigation. Diane, as you mentioned, Ralph did have a list of venues where Trump had been or planned to go between the months of August and October. We don't know exactly what venues those were that he had written down, but even more importantly here, they say that Ryan Ralph traveled near the golf course and Trump's estate here Mar-a-Lago multiple times in the months leading up to his arrest. Of course, there's been all sorts of questions we've heard been asked in press conferences and of investigators about the timeline here. Had he come down before? Was he familiar with any other venues other than that golf course? Had he been to Mar-a-Lago, for example? So we talked specifically about that 12 hours leading up to when he was seen on that fence line, and he had been around the course in the vicinity of that fence line. But we didn't know much more about where he was previously. So we do know now that he had been familiar with the golf club Mar-a-Lago, that he had traveled down to Florida before. So new details being revealed by prosecutors ahead of this hearing that is scheduled to get underway in a little over an hour.
So, Catherine, with this letter saying I failed you, are investigators now looking into the possibility that he wasn't acting alone here?
I mean, that, of course, they're going to investigate, but I think he might have just been by himself from what I'm able to see. And then the letter, the purpose of that was to inspire other people to try and do the same thing. But I think what really inspired people to try and do this was the first situation where they saw how vulnerable Trump could be, because they had the guy on the roof for quite a while before anybody saw anything, before anybody did anything. And when I say anybody, I mean those who were in charge. Normies on the ground seemed to have spotted the guy before they did. And if they saw him before the normies did, then why didn't they take him out? So when they saw that, it's like, okay, it's open season. Let's go ahead and try something, in my opinion. But I digress.
Now, it's interesting because they definitely are looking into that fact, but at least when investigators had a press conference last week and they were asked specifically about whether they had any evidence that Ryan Routh was acting with somebody else, they said that at least so far, now remember the investigation is preliminary, but so far they didn't have any evidence to suggest that he was acting with anybody else. But they did say that they were looking in to that fact to determine whether or not that's accurate or not.
Of course, they're going to look into everything. They're going to investigate all possibilities, but they probably don't think this guy was part of a network. Although they did come out and say that there's 5, not 1, not 2, 5 assassination teams in the USA trying to take out Trump. They did say that. Now, I don't know how they know it's 5. And if they know that there are 5 of these groups, then why can't they take them down? Why can't they get them out of the way? I don't really know, but let's continue.
So I'm sure as this investigation continues, they're looking into all aspects of this, including whether he traveled outside of Florida to any other Trump properties, for example, of course, if he was acting alone, and other details that they're hoping to glean as well.
So, Catherine, what can we expect when he appears in court today?
Yeah, well, I think we can expect prosecutors to detail a lot of what we see in this detention memo here. We didn't know if they would submit a detention memo prior to this hearing. It is typical that they would. So we're learning more about the timeline. Now we just have to wait and see whether they reveal any additional details about the timeline. If they say what other venues, for example, he was traveling to. A question that I have is prosecutors say that he had a list of venues where he was expected to appear. Were those already publicly announced venues, or did he have some sort of knowledge of where he was expected to go? All of these things are details that maybe we will learn in court, but still questions for investigators as this moves forward.
So there we have it. That's what's happening right there. Again, it's ABC News reporting on the situation. The guy had a manifesto and a bounty in the manifesto, and he's in prison right now, or at least in the federal detention facility. And then once he gets convicted for the obvious things, the guns and all that, he'll go to a federal prison and be gone forever. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to the federales. Do the right thing. Don't let this guy ever see the light of day again. Put him 1,000 feet up under the penitentiary to make big rocks to little rocks. You have everything. You have the letter in which he denoted his intent. You have the bounty. You have the guns. You have the previous record. You have he's a convicted felon already doing things like this. So you see a pattern of behavior, a pattern of violence. This guy is toast, and rightfully so. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about the manifesto? Is it a nothing burger? Is it a something burger? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. How about the bounty? 150 grand on Trump's head. How about the guns with the defaced serial numbers? How about him going down to Florida on numerous occasions and stalking Trump where he was going to be? Like, this is a plan he had. The intent is there. He had everything on him. He had the materials, the intent. He wrote his intent. Everything is right there. So it's a slam dunk, open and shut case. But the way things are going nowadays, I don't really know. My confidence is a little bit low. It's a tad bit diminished in the federal government, especially when it comes to things related to Trump. But again, it's just too obvious, too out in the open. They got to put him in the penitentiary to make him make big rocks to little immediately. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.